Imposter syndrome is an unseen impediment that holds back countless competent professionals across the IT technology space and other industries. In this week's episode, our special guest will shed light on this common yet rarely discussed struggle. Join me for an enlightening discussion as we give voice to the self-doubt, fraudulent feelings, and pervasive insecurity experienced by many in the IT industry. Take a listen to this episode and let me know what you think. Hello, welcome to the first series of episode 24 of Reconnecting the Dots. And today I have with me a special guest in the house. I'm pleased to introduce Irene. Irene is a certified agile coach and a consultant. She's also certified both as a Scrum Master and a software product owner. She's highly accomplished professional as well, with a remarkable blend of education backed by an MBA from the prestigious London Business School and a professional certification from MIT and Harvard. Irene has experience spanning diverse industries, and she brings a wealth of knowledge to share today with everyone on how we can overcome imposter syndrome in the tech space. Thank you for honoring the show, Irene, and welcome on to Reconnecting the Dots.
Thank you for having me, and I'm pleased to be here.
You are welcome. So today, we will be looking into imposter syndrome. And fortunately, you and I we actually work in the tech space, in the tech industry. So, and of course, we know a lot of situations happen everywhere. You know, not necessarily like the tech industry, but again, our focus today is just around kind of delving into that issue, because it's actually really common and a very huge situation going on with a lot of people. I mean, you have been in a situation of such kind of thing. I have also experienced it and all that. So can you tell the viewers, what is imposter syndrome to even start with?
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting topic, and I'm glad that you're addressing it, because it's something that I believe that everyone listening would have in one way or the other encountered it. But I'll go straight to the point. I think imposter syndrome, the best way to describe it is more of a psychological phenomenon where individuals doubt their skills or their ability or even their own accomplishment.
Yes.
They have this persistent fear of being exposed as fraud, right? And interestingly, like I said, your own accomplishments, you're actually doubting it just because you feel like you're in the midst of people that are, I don't know, more knowledgeable or more experienced, or maybe self-esteem, whatever it is. But like I said, it's really psychological and it's really not real. And the moment people begin to see this as more of a syndrome that is psychological and not real, I think people begin to get out of that, phase of creating that syndrome around them.
Absolutely. And honestly, you just hit the definition of it like that, because again, I think a lot of people, I've seen too many situations. And for instance, there was a time when I used to have this manager who I report to, and for some reason, even the first day of actually joining the team and all that, of course, it was very exciting joining the team. And then by the time I was told this was the manager I was going to be reporting to, and okay, of course, I was happy. I wanted to learn more and to see what and all. But again, along the line, I started to observe some things, but I wasn't paying too much attention to it. Maybe because I was not really, I didn't probably really understood what she was trying to do. But at a point, it was really getting to me, just like you said, psychologically. And it was beginning to affect me in a way. I mean, in the situation, the day it actually really resonated with me was when she actually did question my accent. And then that was just it for me. So right there and there, I was kind of shocked. I felt so undermined. I felt like, oh, you know what, I'm not sure I can do this. I'm not sure I'm maybe like the right person to do this job or being in this role. that kind of situation is really, really baffling. And again, um, especially when you don't even know what to do, and especially when you actually try to even find who to probably talk to help you get through all of this. So, just like a follow up, I wanted you to probably also maybe share some experiences, you know, um, you know, from things because I remember you and how we have conversation from time to time and all that. So like, and I would probably really like you to share some experiences which you have probably had, in the past or present. Again, all of this has happened like in different ways.
Yeah, sure. So I would start by saying that since we're really focusing on the tech industry, sometimes, and even in any industry you find yourself, imposter syndrome is just that feeling that you're not truly qualified, or that success is just as a result of luck. So I'll give myself as an example. Before I, moved into this country from my home country,
Right.
I was working in, very high corporates. I was high up the corporate ladder, basically, very confident in myself and all of that. And with my educational background in, business administration and a lot of other certifications from Ivy League colleges, I felt very good with myself. But then when I moved into this country and I started to get into the corporate space, specifically in agile space, where you're working with a team of agile professionals. And in this one scenario, I remember joining this team and I found out that, every member of the team, I've been in that organization for like 30 years, 20 something years. And I'm like, okay, I'm dealing with like people that are renowned in this industry. And I'm like, this small me, like, who am I? And like, can I really survive this environment of people that not only have been years of experience in this role, but even in the company? So that means they have like a lot of knowledge. And so that in itself began to mess up with my mind. Like I began to forget where I'm coming from and started, having that panic, like quiet panic attack. Like, am I sure I can, survive this environment? And that is a dangerous thing for anyone, because yeah, the moment you start doubting yourself, it shows and people can see it. And then if people want to really pounce on that, they would leverage on it. So my real experience, and not just in one environment, I found myself every time I get into an environment, and that was back in the days, like I panic, I doubt myself. However, I began to remind myself who I am and, where I come from, and tell myself that I'm truly smart and I deserve to be here. And all of that helped me grow in my mind and, and somehow position my mindset to tell myself that I'm better than anyone in the room. Right. So for me, that is how I've been able to support myself and help myself personally. But there's so many other tips that even as we go with this conversation, I would share. But yes, I've experienced it and I've managed to get out of that phase.
Yeah, and it's really, really tough. It's really difficult. And again, because a lot of us do not have the same kind of resilience to actually deal with all of these things. And believe me, you see some people come, having like that syndrome and something else coming in and all that. Believe me, some people have actually, it has triggered depression for a lot of people, or for some people, and it's really baffling. So I don't know. Again, for me, I will also say that at the time I was even going through man and all that, because again, it literally got to a point I had to, literally file a complaint with HR. It was really that bad. It was really that bad that, and I mean, like someone who is like an immigrant like me questioning my accent, which triggers a lot of questioning in mind. It triggers so many things. And I remember, writing an email to like the senior leadership, expressing what I was going through and all that. I wouldn't lie to you. I would tell you I probably didn't really get any kind of support like that. I don't know why. So maybe perhaps the HR, does not understand how to tackle, how to deal with such kind of issue, or because the kind of vibes I was getting was just more from a perspective or oh, she's an immigrant like you. You're also an immigrant. She can't do this. She can't do that. Meanwhile, there's a lot of evidence to actually even show for that. So I think what I would say I did was, for me also, I was able to kind of um, um, retrain my mind in a way that I'm able to really stand firm, believe more in myself in all that I do, which is how I've actually been able to deal and kind of overcome imposter syndrome. Now, I want us to dive into talking about what do you think from a company or an employer perspective should be done to help support and overcome this specific syndrome or this specific problem in the workplace. Because I have seen situations where I'm not sure if companies really take or do their due diligence or look into this issue, the way it should be looked into. So just want to get your thought on that.
So your question, if I may understand, is what companies can actually do to manage the imposter syndrome.
Yes.
I think a lot of companies do support things like this. So for example, I've been in an organization where they have like resources in like their learning platforms, and they have topics like that address this thing. So one thing I think for companies to do to support people, because this thing exists and they would probably lose very high value employees just because they're somewhat oppressed to show off or showcase their talent, is to speak about it, normalize speaking about it, normalize talking about it and addressing it. I think that they should have, learning or trainings around it, because for example, my current company has a learning platform where we access several learning resources, but they do have such resources around imposter syndrome and how you can manage it. So normalize it and accept it, and then support people by putting this up there and talking about it. Also setting up sessions that would discuss it, sort of creating like a mentorship program. I've seen organizations creating like a mentor-mentee relationship program where people that are getting into the industry or into that company can really reach out to like senior leadership or people that have been in the organization for so long and create like a mentor-mentee relationship and talk about some of their fears and concerns. And the company have to acknowledge the feelings of the employees, because truly, if this is not addressed, it really leads to a lot of burnout and missed opportunities, because people will shy away from leadership roles, for example. So someone that is really good, that would have added value to this organization, would probably run away from taking leadership roles because they're just fine in that quiet space that they find themselves, and they just don't want any drama or trouble. There's also imposter syndrome even within the organization, where people rise into leadership position because they are like scared that when they get into that leadership and that limelight, they are up for like eviction, almost like a Big Brother house. Like people just want to hide in that quiet. So if the companies don't become proactive and start speaking about this and addressing this issue, they will lose a lot of talent that could have gone up the ladder to support that business. So normalize talking about it, set up a structure to support people that may be going through it, set up mentee and mentor relationships that should be part of the growth of that employee. Like everybody should have a mentor-mentee relationship and put it as part of the what's this called now, like the promotions or like things that you must have achieved to get into the next leg. And then also support people that are coming into the organization or in certain areas of the organization to grow. So create a path for leadership. Right, so that people have the courage to like climb that ladder and see that there's actually a path for them. Because imagine someone with imposter syndrome in an organization that is already afraid. They don't even think there's a place for them to grow. But when the organization takes a step forward to like create a path for people to say this is an opportunity for you to grow, then first the person sees that, okay, there's an opportunity for me, and then they try to even tread that direction.
That's right. And I think in addition to what you just said, I think HR personnel or employee relations, personnel should be given the opportunity to train more or to actually learn more about this type of situations. And again, I think it's something that should be taken very seriously. I understand that maybe some companies or some employers might be doing some things or having like some kind of like support system, but I don't from a company I work with. It's actually a very big company. Believe me, it's really very well structured company. However, they lack some type of structure around this issue, and people are going through situations in silence. And again, because again, if you can actually look at it from a different angle. Some people might go, well, you know what, if I say anything to HR, I don't know, and I get retaliated upon and get fined. Yes, I know there's a policy, there's an HR policy for companies where if any employee retaliates, against, the other employee and all that, there's going to be, the consequence for that. However, in my experience, believe me, a manager retaliated against me, and nothing was done about it. So my question to you again, Irene, is, if someone, or what do you say to that person who is having, or struggling with this kind of feeling of imposter syndrome? What should be the first line of action to be done?
Interesting. That's a very interesting question. I think the first thing is to acknowledge your feelings. Like, it's okay to feel the way you feel.
Right.
Acknowledge that imposter syndrome is real, and acknowledge that everyone, even your manager that is doing great and is flying high, has at one point experienced that imposter syndrome. Once you realize that, self-realization is the first step for me. Don't think you have a problem. Don't think it's about you. It's normal that you feel that way at some point in your life. So the next thing, you want to seek support and mentorship, right? I personally would tell you, look for that some person within your organization that you look up to and it seems approachable. And I personally would just go straight to them and say, how are you doing? I really like your style of leadership. I like the way you work. I'm new to this organization and I'm trying to get by. Would you please be my mentor? I've even had a peer mentor where it's my colleague, but it's my peer mentorship, because this person has been in the organization for God knows how long, like 20 something years. He's my peer, but he's been there. He's more knowledgeable than me, and he's so confident. He probably went through imposter syndrome at some point. So I reached out to him, hey, would you be my peer mentor? Meaning, I just want to have a buddy at work where I can say, hey, I'm scared about this person. This person is giving me, and then the person, oh, don't worry about that person. I've been there, I've done that. So that peer mentorship is very helpful. And then look for a leader that seems approachable. Trust me, these people actually appreciate it when you reach out to them for mentorship. And when you finally get them to agree to it, they give you the support because you reached out to them. So I would say, acknowledge your feelings. Second, seek support and mentorship within your organization. Right. You can have one outside of your organization as well if you find, but I would always say, you are having that imposter syndrome within your organization, look for someone within your organization to help you. And then begin to set goals for yourself, right? Set achievable goals and focus on your accomplishment. Like, okay, right now I'm in this organization, I'm in as XYZ position. In the next 1 year, I've been able to achieve XYZ. Think about yourself as a person and say, okay, I know I have imposter syndrome, but I don't even want to. I want to prove my own self wrong that I can achieve this. So set goals, achievable goals for yourself, and check the boxes to see how well you're doing. So that you can begin to believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody's going to believe in you.
That's right. You're very right about that. And believe me, it's just the same thing as saying that, you need to trust your journey, because progress takes time, but you are growing every step of the way. And no matter what the situation is, we have to just keep, standing firm, believing in what we believe in, what we do. And because, again, I believe that everybody is actually gifted with something. Gifts is from God. And we all need, as people, we need to acknowledge the gifts from God, because we did not earn it. It's a gift. And that's why I think in one of the things of Denzel Washington, he says, don't just aspire to make a living, but aspire to make a difference. So it means that gift, skills, talents, all that you have that makes you that unique individual, you need to make sure that you leverage on it, believe in it, and make it happen. Again, I also believe that um, I think we need to celebrate our small wins, no matter how small it is. We need to always celebrate our small wins. It is very, very important. It goes a long way,
Yeah.
and I know that it's very tough. It's really difficult. Not all of us can actually, stand up to imposter syndrome. Not all of us can stand up to aggressors or oppressors, because at the end of the day, people want to bring people down, and it is unacceptable. It is not right. And I will just say this to, I think, employers of labor, that it's all about equal employment opportunity, and everybody should be given equal opportunity to thrive in whatever anything they do. Because as a matter of fact, without the employee, I do not believe any employer would even want to go ahead to thrive in their business, right? Or in whatever vision or mission they have actually set forth to do. Again, employee is really important. They are an important element, that facilitate the success and the growth of a company. And I think it is deserving of any employee or any staff, to be given the opportunity to actually make things happen. Employees need to be given like that, that huge opportunity and confidence to make things happen. So just before we wrap up this session, what do you say to a manager or a lead person who supposedly try to impose something on their subordinate, who are their subordinate staff? What do you say to them, and what advice? Because you've been an agile coach and been in the tech space for a while, you have seen so many. We have both shared experiences of what we have seen and what we have, gone through. So what do you say to that manager out there who feels or thinks, whether it's a she or a he, that is trying to undermine his or her staff, which in the end causes them some kind of like undermining situation, which makes them not believe in themselves? What do you say to those managers? What do you say to those team leadership?
It's simple. I'll remind them where they are coming from. That they at some point have also been in that situation, and whether they were treated nice or not doesn't matter, but how would they have preferred to be treated? I would say to them to consider the human feeling of people that they are working with, because they're a manager today. They were coming from somewhere, and they probably did feel this imposter syndrome at some point in their life, and then they need to make sure that they don't impact their subordinates negatively, just so that they can keep the right kind of people around them. I would also say that rather than taunt people and frustrate their subordinates, they should create a more welcoming environment and a more supportive environment for people, just so that if they're experiencing the imposter syndrome, it doesn't mean that they are bad. It just means that they're trying to acclimatize themselves with the environment and see how to actually help them and support them rather than frustrate them out of that role.
Absolutely. That's really very powerful. And I would say this and leave this for our viewers who will be listening to this, and for those who are going through one or two things in relation to imposter syndrome, and for everyone who wake up every day to impact their companies or the organization and take it to the next level, and especially to all employees and staff of different companies in all industry. I want to say this: you have got this. Take it day by day, because silence is a self-doubt. And remember that the path belongs to those who persist, keep going, keep growing, and just keep doing what you need to do. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe me, no one will write your story for you. You are going to be the one to write that story yourself. Never give up, and just keep moving and believing in yourself, and always, always, always retrain your mind to serve you, to become the best version of yourself.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Reconnecting the Dots podcast. I hope you found inspiration and valuable insight to help you in your journey of personal growth. Remember to subscribe to my podcast on Spotify, Apple iTunes, or Google Podcast. And stay tuned for more episodes filled with exciting stories and topics to help you become the best version of yourself. Until next time, keep striving for greatness.